All right, let's talk about American wildlife safari. American national parks kind of stand out in a funny way compared to parks in East and South Africa and Southern Asia, where accessibility is kind of for the general public. That's the intention of these national parks. So, as far as going out and looking for wildlife like gray wolves and grizzly bears, you can get in your own vehicle and self guide. What I was curious of was kind of the benefits and costs of either going out with a professional, a guided opportunity, or self guided and doing it yourself. And this past week, I did a mix of both. I both drove myself through the park, but then also went out both with a private guide and then also with a shared group experience that was guided. And they were all kind of different perspectives of the park. But what was interesting is because Yellowstone National Park and Grand Teton National Park have very strict rules, obviously, of keeping vehicles on the roadways, a lot of the sightings were very similar, regardless of if you were on your own or if you were with a group or with a professional. And what I really was interested in was kind of the ethics behind that and what perspective people were getting of this wildlife and kind of what they were taking home after it. So, my recommendation for American safari is go out with a professional. If you have the means to, do it. I would recommend booking a local guide, do your research, find somebody who's been working in the region for a long time that have highly trained professionals that really know what they're talking about and spend a lot of time actually out in the field. That being said, I would do it at the top of your tour. So if you're here for X number of days, try to do it on your first day. The reason I say that is because that individual, that naturalist, that tour guide is going to be able to give you insight that then you can use later in your adventures. So you can apply that knowledge of, oh, this specific black bear likes to hang out here during X number of time of day. Here, I'll give you an example. So, with spotting gray wolves in the park, their movements can sometimes be pretty sporadic and change day to day. But while I was here, they actually had a carcass, a bison carcass that they were working on. It was only a few days old, and without the help of that guide's information of where it was and how old the carcass was, I wouldn't have known to go back to it and how it might change, and that coyotes were on it, ravens, but then even a grizzly bear. So that knowledge was really nice to apply to my self guiding. So I would try to do a little bit of mix of both. Like I said, if you have the means to go out with a professional, definitely do it. If you are self guiding, do your research beforehand because good sightings come from good knowledge and knowing wildlife behavior and having a general sense of preferred habitat, what diet these individuals or species are going to be having, and that really can set you up for success. Another thing I learned while being in Yellowstone was wildlife sightings are far away here in a lot of cases. I mean, I was watching animals that were a mile plus away, down the valley, up a ridge. So having the right equipment is key. I had my own binoculars and my big long camera lens, but it was extremely helpful being able to use a guide's spotting scope. That's kind of like the currency of success in these parks is a spotting scope. You'll see a lot of them. And the really cool individuals are the ones that have the magnets on their cell phones that just like snap into place and they can film the whole scene through the spotting scope. So if you want to invest in that expensive equipment, go for it. But you can also rent it before coming to the park. Some individuals are kind enough to let you take a peek through their scopes too on good sightings. But it's just something to keep in mind that sometimes wolves, bears, these kind of like apex predators are rightfully a good distance away. So good equipment makes a big, big difference. All that being said, an American safari in Yellowstone National Park is incredible. It is absolutely one of my top three favorite wildlife encounters experiences I've ever had. And I was very fortunate this last week to see quite an array of species. I still can't get over seeing wolves hunting, grizzly bears crossing rivers. I even saw a moose get almost swept away by the river current. It was a really, really fruitful trip to Yellowstone, and I highly recommend it. I Yeah, I'm floored. It really it stands out as quite an incredible place to spot wildlife. So, with those tips, keep in mind good equipment, things like optics, good knowledge, but then also just kind of the luck of being in the right place at the right time. And you'll be set up for success. And I hope that you yourself get to have an incredible African safari. Excuse me. And you yourself, I hope, get to have an incredible American safari.